Hello, I'm Greg Washington, President of Patients Unlimited Marketing Consultants, and I'm going to do a very special presentation, one that I think is a first. At least I don't remember seeing anything like it before. I want to talk about the costs that we as internet service organizations charge our clients. And I'm basing it not on just our experience, I'm basing it on what I know our competitors are doing. We've been doing this longer than anyone else in the industry. I think at that point you should be able to know what the environment looks like. To do this, we have to do a few things. We've got to kind of get the ingredients right in terms of what is an internet program, what is a web program. I think it should be what is an internet program because it's more than a website. We're more than web developers, so I think when you look at what needs to be done, then it's got to go beyond just a website. Well, it starts off with a structured and organized plan to create a result. And I think this particular aspect gets short-circuited with the gimmicks, the colors, the little things you can do with the computer. The time put in this area is not as what it should be. Part of that planning needs to anticipate what's happening with regard to future plans of wanting to promote other services using things like eBlast, AdWords, PPC, social media. That needs to be anticipated so you aren't running at the last moment, patching things up and not connecting the dots. Most importantly, staff needs to tie into an internet program. Their training is important all along the line of all the things that you do. We'll talk about that in some more depth. And then there's website maintenance or search engine optimization, SEO. That is the core of where most business came from in the past, but things are changing. We have to protect it. And then there's an advertising investment. Different from planning for advertisement and promotion, but there's an advertising investment. They call it PPC. We'll talk about that a little more. Then there's something called image protection, review management, review site management, time sponge if you don't do it correctly. Social media, also a time sponge. Well, I'm part of a team, and I'm part of our team I'm very proud of. There's Lou Haggerty in the upper left-hand corner, and Yvette Menard, who will be presenting Saturday from our agency. Then you see the rest of our team, our web developers, our webmaster, and our writers, our designers. That's our core team. We have other people we bring in when we need them, but they're not overseas. They're right here in America. We're going to take a deep, deep dive into how you spend 30 to 40 plus $1,000 a year to get results through internet promotion. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but it should produce a lot of money. In fact, most of our clients report they're getting 10 to 20 times their investment, depending upon what they're doing and where they are, what the competition is. But if you spend that kind of money incorrectly, you don't make $300,000 to $700,000 just from that particular promotional option. That money goes right down the drain. When that money goes down the drain, somebody's not going to see Christmas. And we don't want that to happen in any household that represents your practices. Now, there's a budget question that has to be asked to do this particular presentation properly. What are you getting from your internet investment? What's your results on investment? New twist on the ROI, right? Particularly when you look at the $18,000 to $20,000 that's spent with us as an ISO, an internet service organization. Well, we want to break it down into some granular elements that we can kind of examine this in a little more detail. Phase one is design, planning, structure. Unfortunately, not enough time is spent in this area proactively. A lot of time spent on colors and pictures and gimmicks and images, but the design and planning phase gets short-circuited. Starting off with, not even for many clients, giving formal benchmarks of what they expect. How can you inspect what you haven't been specific about you want to have? Then there's a marketing plan. There's got to be some level of marketing planning there as a precursor to putting a design of an internet strategy together. Then there's built-in advertising elements that are in place before launching other promotional programs. And then there's a clearer need to say what makes you different, what makes your services different. How are you going to better compete against the competition down the street, around the corner, out of the state, even in some instances. And then you got to also say, do you own that property that you've now masterminded and put together? Is that intellectual property yours? Well, in our firm, it is yours. It is yours. Now, there are some proprietary plugins and things that get there, but by and large, the website is something that should be transportable. It's something you've invested in. And you invested in every 18 months. And there's planned portal integration. I'm talking about social media portals. I'm talking about reverse site portals. I'm talking about linkages to other places that send you traffic. It's planned. Now, our secret sauce that we provide our clients is a function of us doing this longer than anyone else in the business. And we've been doing it now for 21 years. We've made our mistakes, and we've developed as an organization that is more than a web development firm. We are really a practice management marketing firm. And we did, in fact, have a branch of services that did that for many years. We decided to specialize, as you've decided to specialize, in just the internet and social media phenom. We're in a very unusual good position to help you do benchmarking of your expectations and tracking the results against those benchmarks, and planning integrated advertising, in staff training. In fact, we have the industry's top trainer, Lou Haggerty, on our staff. If you don't believe me, just go to go to YouTube and put in staff training for plastic surgeons, staff training for medical spas, cosmetic surgeons, and you'll see she has as many entries as probably half the page you'll find there. Not just put there yesterday, they've been there for years. Then we have internet maintenance. Our search engine optimization, Sam, I'll refer to in a few moments. And then there's non-SEO, non-search engine website investment we'll talk about. They call it AdWords. Then there's social media management, and there's review site management. All those things, or both of those things, can be time sponges, and we want to make sure we can prevent that from happening, that is wasting time. Well, I've talked about benchmarking your current internet's performance index, or indices, and I want to have you look at this current results of investment, ROI. I want to have you look at your search position status quantitatively. You should be able to put 35 to 60 different searches that you have polished down to be the important searches that you should be on the first and second page. And you should be able to track that quarterly. Your email volumes, you should be able to track that quarterly, be able to quantify it. Your phone call traffic, you should be able to track that. And your conversion ratio. You should be converting 4 to 6 out of every 10 people that contact you to at least get to the office. They may not necessarily buy services, but we know that through experience and through our 21 years that that's the correct ratio. Looking at it a different way, you're spending $1,000 a month for a good plan and a good strategy and a good proactive program. Okay, so that's one element. What did it take to get that internet service organization into your game? That's the number. And what is it going to take to keep that internet service organization maintained? Now, you can let that website go dormant and not do anything for 2 or 3 years, but I guarantee you will lose that amount of money every month by doing that. So planned integrated promotional activities becomes very important. The first and most common one is e-blast or e-communications. Most of our clients will have 12 to 15 e-blasts that we design. It's all part of our cost, part of their cost. We design, we deploy, we track, and we monitor. And then you're either doing specials or you're doing reminders or you're doing newsletters, but that's usually the one particular area you want to avoid having to build landing pages for, and you want to make sure that when people come from these specials and reminders, they're getting to a page that has closing propositions. Then there's review management, because reviews, by the way, can have advertisements on them, and reviews can lead to coming to your advertising content, and reviews are used as a part of promoting your services through your internet. Every page should have review information on it. Then there's PPC or AdWords or Bing words, however we want to look at that, that's planned. So we aren't doing the old school technique of creating a landing page for a special offer. And by the way, after rescuing several organizations' practices that had AdWord campaigns that have been either taken down and held down for months, we know and can tell you that landing pages that tie into a site that's not ready for Google to examine will result in your having a lot of headaches in terms of expenses and delayed opportunity to make sure that your practice is show placed. We've also dealt with practices that have been actually removed from the organic search results and had to rescue them. Directory listings is another place. Directories have advertisements on them. And those directories could be one of the manufacturers you're dealing with, or several of the manufacturers you're dealing with. It could be a review site. It could be local chamber of commerce. You want to be able to make sure that your listings are uniform, and Google will give you an SEO benefit for that. And then, of course, local media. Some of you are still and can and should use some degree of local media. That could be either some print or perhaps electronic. Not a major player, but it can be a pretty good, significant leverage to get a little business you might have missed. And these media sellers are getting smarter in terms of their pricing, in terms of what they're asking for. A budget about $350 to $550 per month for this particular feature of your marketing plan and strategy. Then there's staff sales training. Now, here's an area that perplexes me, really, frankly, when I go back to looking back over what we've done over the years. In the earlier years when we were designing websites and putting together social media, the practices were very mindful and very respectful of the cost and the effort and time it took to train the staff. And by the way, the pushback is not because of the cost of the bringing people like us in. The pushback is that they don't want to shut the doors down. They don't want to stop. And I think it's a big mistake because those 4 bullets you see there, motivation, staff education, service education, competition, and refreshment skills is very, very important. And retaining a good staff means training a good staff. Empowering a good staff means powering a good staff. For those of you at this meeting, you understand the importance of having a budget. And that budget is going to be about $450 to $550 per quarter. That's not a lot of money, by the way. Or maybe $150 a month. I mean, you'd put oil in your car to make sure that your engine doesn't burn down. Why wouldn't you put the oil or the money on the staff's skills and attitudes? Internet maintenance. Well, internet maintenance is something you know about. I mean, you know that there's photos that have to be maintained, changed, and tagged. You know there's videos that have to be the same and inserted into galleries. You know that text has to be refreshed. You know that links have to be put onto your site going back and forth called backlinks. You know that social media tie-ins need to be a part of every page on your website. And you know that review content needs to be utilized and repurposed. This is organic. SEO means organic. Optimization means organic. Then there's email processing. Now, we know from watching past history that emails are more than most people think they are in terms of importance. They need the email list needs to be segmented. The email content needs to be reused. Even the people that don't show should be approached and should be kept into files. Email content determines, that is the quest that they're making and what they're interested in, determines how your e-blast should be designed. So that's all part of maintenance, and that's all part of the kind of organic spinoff. Once you get them, you keep them. Quarterly reporting analysis. Now we do, and I think anybody you're dealing with should be giving you quarterly reports that allows you to inspect what you expected, and not just reports to report information, but to also make decisions. The analysis function needs to take place. Now this is the base of the fee that an internet social service